right, welcome for the Whistle Time live on West Nile Television. Oh, Zaga is my name, and wherever you're catching the show from, I want to say it's a brilliant day, probably a Friday, which ushers us in the weekend very, very well, and a lot of expectations from different people, a lot of expectations from family members, a lot of expectations from those you take care of, and a lot of things that you will be coming right there. Now, of course, most especially your guardians or your parents and the siblings all needing you to take care of them. So, but all in all, it's another beautiful, interesting moment right there, and a lot of expectations from also your friends who maybe you could be working with, maybe you're doing other chills with, and that is one interesting part of the story in there. But of course, we thank God that at least you did receive some little. It was much. It wasn't little. Some rain. And we're expecting to see maybe more rains should be coming right through because of one or two things. And that is most especially for those who are farmers. I want to say this is going to be another interesting one. But in the world of sports, are probably a couple of things that happened in the due course of the post-primary ball games. And out of that, we had to see where to level and balance things in there. Now, of course, the city council, remember, led by, that is the city mayor, who had said he had definitely banned some schools, and that is Umbachi and Mvara. But later on, of course, this issue was revived. I mean, the investigations and the rest were taken. Then it was reversed, or the ban was reversed to see that this team, how the schools continued with their games instantly. But at the same time, now these games were yesterday played and taken far away from, that is Arua City Center. It was taken to Arua District, yeah. So in Arua District, we did see, of course, games being played. One of them, of course, teams like in the quarterfinals, we did see Mvara being ejected by Tarantino. We did see also the team of Mbachi also being ejected. So those are some of the big things that happened, and indeed, this meant very big for such a team because they expected to see. Maybe these two teams were expecting to see that these two teams meet up to the finals, but it didn't happen because they were instead ejected in the quarterfinals, so they couldn't reach far. And I think this gives chance to also, for those who are there, like Samson Sizokuti, this gives them time to see that he plans for the home side. I'm talking about Onduparaka Football Club, that he is the head coach of this team, but he has not been given that time because he had moments to do with the team of Mvara. So now the OBs of that is the Mvara boys, and of course the OBs of Ombachi are all, I don't think they're all happy because of one or two issues, because now this is not really working out. But Arua SS has gone further with of course what they could do, because it's one of the biggest things that you could be expecting after their performances, after performing a splendid performance, and these are big things that I will be telling you right there. So that means Arua Public are the champions of that is Arua City post-primary ball games, after of course beating Arua SS 3-1 on penalties. And then, of course, the normal regulations ended, of course, with 0-0, if you remember. Meanwhile, the third playoffs, Mvara, of course, humbled St. Joseph's College Ombachi to, that is 5-4, on that is the penalties, after playing goalless draw in a normal timing right there. So that means this gives an upper hand after, of course, this moment. So Arua Public SS being the champions means very much for such a team, because this coach is by the way, this team is under Coach Jemba. Jemba has been is the assistant coach to Samson Sizokuti at Onduparaka Football Club. He's called Ekidu Stephen Jemba. He's the coach right there, the man who always stands on the touchline for Onduparaka Football Club. He was from Maroons Football Club, and of course with the academy team, now he has gotten himself into the right way. But not only that, I think this gives chances to see how, of course, uniqueness happened this time round. Different teams that went on to see that games went on. I want to say the discipline of the game was now another thing, because from here to of course Nyovra, it was not an easy one. Going to play games at Nyovra, so you need to use transport, you need to go up to Nyovra to see that these games are played. I think it was so challenging, and this time around the schools or the spectators could not even now achieve to get there. And to me, yeah, it was very good, but why don't we look into the security of the team from next preparations? Because I'm told these games now are going to be shifted to Arua. In fact, from here to Maracha, that's where the regional competitions are going to be played. We're waiting for some of the schools that probably are going to be playing, and after that means teams will go and represent in that is Maracha district. So Maracha will be hosting the regional league games, and I mean the regional playoffs that will be coming in there to see which team will be representing. I think interestingly that is one big thing, and indeed now I think Arua Public, that's a plus for them, and we're expecting a lot in there. But to me, I think it has taught in a lot of people. It has taught lesson. It has given people what exactly they need to know about games. When it happens to be the ball games, what is required? It's not a war. It's just about making sure that the schools put things rightly. Then the organization, to me, this time around was not right, because if you look at the sports teachers, if you look at the different schools, I think they needed to do a lot of sensitization on how these things needed to work out. So because they didn't work out, there's still a bigger room for preparation. Just like how you're going to see in Maracha, games are also still going to be there. So in Maracha, we should be seeing that people or the organizers put in measures to see that there's no indiscipline cases. There are no challenges with maybe forgeries, because we have seen some school, even we have seen at least in northern Uganda, in Kidgum, some players being arrested, and these persons being arrested were non-bona fide players, and indeed they were arrested, and they confirmed that yeah, it's true, the sports teachers of this school called them to come and participate, and indeed they have come here to participate. So they are here to participate basing on that. Otherwise, they are not students of this school. I think that is so bad, so damaging, and for such a school, to me, I would say such a school needs to be banned, because this is not correct. Such a team needs to really not participate anymore, because that's no deal. That's no deal. What about other schools? What about the processes? Or if they have been winning against some schools, if they won against some schools, how about that? Will you replay the games because this is there, or will you give the points free because you're going to be taking actions against such a team? So I think it's so bad and so challenging for such a moment. But I love the way that they were also arrested to show discipline of the game right there. We expect a lot to happen in the due course. That is for Arua City, and I think next time also the government bodies should always make sure that they follow the right channels, because stakeholding is very key. Yes, we know maybe there were a lot of, should we say, looting, or a lot of things that happen. When things happen, people lost very many things, but that shouldn't stop you from doing consultations. I know security is very paramount in anything, but when the RRC, I mean, when the city mayor said that this was one thing that he had taken as a solution to curb this, then it was very challenging, because indeed that was wrong, because the sports officer denied it, the schools denied, and indeed they couldn't make things go the way you could be expecting. Or in all, that is not right. So next time, in case such a scenario happens, involving the sports teachers, involving the sports office, which is there in the districts or in the cities, involving the persons or the organizers of these games, so that they give you the right thing on how this can be done. Maybe if they start charging teams, how about charging them? Wouldn't those things really help? So it's one big one. At the same time, there are also games, by the way, going on at Rua district, where of course the finals were set for today, with of course a couple of games. In the ladies, in the boys, we did see St. Augustine play Nile High Odia, and then we did see also Bondo Army playing Vura in the girls category. But of course the games that were to be played at Ochoko had other games that are coming in there. But also in Indiria Primary School in Terego, we did see also some games that will be taking place. Siripi Modern against Katrini was a game that took place in the girls category. Then Siripi Modern against Katrini in the boys category also took place in Aripia Primary School grounds. We did also see Mvepi taking on Ofwa girls, and then Yikiro against Ofwa SS also went on. That game, I mean, is to be played. So those are some of the big games that you can talk about right now. And of course, results that came from the games that were played in there, of course, had a lot of also impact. Vura against Ushindi in the Arua District Secondary School ball games. Vura against Ushindi, that game ended 1-0. And then Ushindi against Holy Trinity Logiri in the girls category did also end 3-1 in favor of Logiri. Whereas Bondo girls, Bondo Army in the girls category did beat Vura. I mean, Vura beat them by 1-0, and that game got done. Now, in elsewhere in Zeu, we did say, I mean, let's say in Zombo, Zeu SS against Saint Mary's Matters SS. That is at police grounds was to be played at 11. I'm yet to get the result. Nyapea College against Charity College at Zeu Primary School is also another one. And then Paida versus Aluka at police. That game is still underway. Paida SS against Excel of Zeu is also another game that is underway. So we're expecting a couple of games that probably will be coming right there, and we will be waiting to see how these things work on rightly, because there are a lot of things that have happened. So let's wait and see. Now, in the boys category, there are a lot of also, I mean, in the Arua district, I've just received notifications here of how some of the games, of course, played are, and yeah, I can see here they are telling me how the playoffs are going to be. Yeah, in the boys category, Usindi will be playing Vura. Then in the finals, you will be seeing St. Augustine taking on Nile High Odia in the boys category. While in the girls category, third playoffs will be played between Ushindi and of course, Logiri SS in the girls category. While in the final, you'll be having Vura SS taking on, of course, Bondo Army SS. Those are the games all at Ochoko Playgrounds, and it is not yet, of course, the official conclusion or venue, but we are waiting to see what exactly that will be like for the teams. So that's exactly, I just did tell you that's how the teams are preparing, but results also that came through showed that teams are preparing for that is their biggest anticipated match, because Nile with Oshindi is going to be a tough game that you could be expecting right there in the finals. At the same time, I want to say still, if I go to Arua district, there's a club there called Kuluva Rainbow. This club has a game that they had not played against Arua Airfield, and now, according to the reliable information coming in from that is the West Nile Regional Football Association Competition Committee, there is of course, the fixture reschedule of the game between Arua Airfield, that was the fixture game MN109, of course, Arua Airfield versus Kuluva Rainbow. That game went on, and according to that is the secretariat, this game has been shifted to 24th. Which is going to be a Monday. So it was supposed to be 23rd, and it has been moved to 24th March due to that is the conflicting day, and of course the time with that is FUFA Big League at Greenlight Stadium, where of course Onduparaka Football Club will also be tussling it out against Ntunga Saze. That is what has come in here. So Rothomio John, the competition's chairman, put that information clearly to the two clubs that this game shan't take place until Monday. That's when these two teams will be taking place, because there's a regional league entity that will be taking, of course, a clash. Talking about Onduparaka Football Club. Now that game will be at Greenlight Stadium against Ntunga Saze, between Onduparaka and the team. Of course, 4 consecutive losses for that is the club, Onduparaka Football Club, and the question is now whether they could be ready to rejuvenate and win this home game ahead of the incoming game. So it's a very, very big one. Let's wait and see how this will be coming right there. But all in all, it is so challenging, it is so impressive, because if the region can honor basing on what exactly the fixtures, and then I think that's a good one. There are moments you see games clashing. There's a big league game going on, and then also regional league, and yet these are the same fans who are supposed to watch. So obviously there's a conflict where, of course, you will not have all the fans go and watch maybe a certain game, which affects revenue for the clubs that are right here. That is one. Then, of course, two, also according to also the calendar, you're supposed to follow from FIFA, CAF, and then of course the rest of the things that are coming right there. So it's a one big story that will be coming through, and we're yet to see what will be coming in there. Now, according to reports coming in from, that is Benson Pastore, just right here is saying that the Arua District Finals has just kicked off between, that is St. Augustine and Nile High. So this is a very big game that we shall be expecting, because whatever happens, we shall be waiting to see whatever that makes sense, because on ground, yeah, he's there, but it's going to be a tough game, a tough encounter, I should say. Thank you so much, Benson, for that report, and we are so much following whatever update that you will be giving us coming in from there, and that is one big moment in there. Whereas Vura also beat Bondo 1-0 in that is the girls category in the finals. So that's also another plus that he has just given us an update about. So what else do we expect? Of course, we're expecting now to see between between St. Augustine and Nile High, which team is the best. Giants of that area, Vura, Okofura, are now out. Nile still keeps that momentum of keeping itself up there. I think that is so interesting because you don't really have to miss on any of the clue that will be coming right there. So I'll be keeping you posted, because I just told you our field reporter, Mr. Benson Pastore, is on ground, and I will be also giving you that moment in there, because Oshindi did beat Vura 1-0. I did tell you in the boys' third playoff. So now this third playoff has also happened as Oshindi has beaten, that is Vura in there. So Vura literally has, in the boys, have also gone without anything, but we are waiting to see how this works out. So we shall keep you posted at that is the secondary school ball games, and it is one big thing that you will really want to see, courtesy of that is the games that are happening in there. So we're going to be taking a break, but before we take a break, I just did tell you that there's going to be also a talking point about how Dennis Masinde Onyango reacted to the calamitous errors that happened yesterday. Okay, the errors made by Ismail Watenga, and thinks that this is not the end of the game that is right there. So he encouraged him to be so strong and see that things go well. Still more updates coming in here. Logiri also had a playoff in the girls category, and Logiri did beat, Ushindi. Logiri beat Ushindi by 3-1, according to the reliable reporter on ground, Mr. Benson Pastore. That is what he's telling me right here. So those are some of the talking, top-notch, locally talking points that we have gotten in there. Now, yesterday, I just did tell you that there are a lot of things that also went on with Uganda Cranes taking on, of course, Mozambique. A game that saw the teams really not do well, because Uganda was beaten after, of course, a very good start of the game. They started with the man by the names of course, in fact, Mozambique scoring first, then Mohamed Shaban coming to equalize to make sure that things go well. But later on, Dennis Omedi had to get a red card, which of course left Uganda in a very bad way. But again, conceding silly goals from errors made by that is the goalkeeper. Yes, it was so challenging, because right now that is where maybe you could be saying things work out. But Ismail Watenga could not keep the clean sheets or keeping more control of the game. He had to get involved into more challenges, so it affected him so much, and he was pulled off. Instead, Alionzi Nafian was brought into the team to see how they get into the second half. But all in all, Paul Put really didn't give up, making sure that he encouraged the teams up to the last moment to see that they could maybe get an equalizer or a game that would be coming right there. So it was so big that this team could not really afford to get more, because they had a couple of challenges that couldn't really help. Uganda now has to come back and see what exactly they will be doing, because after losing this, that means they have so much to work on. Yeah, they have so much to work on, seeing that they get in there. This is the, by the way, this is the qualifiers. I'm talking about the World Cup qualifiers, where of course Uganda had moments in there. Of course, a couple of players were there. Ismail Watenga was one. I could rate him like at 1.0 in yesterday's performance, because he had sloppy performances that he really put in there, and he was really willing to see that things go right, but didn't go well. And then Buono, yes, played some part of the game in that team of Uganda, because he even struggled against Tagildo and allow way too many crosses that came through the game, and which of course made a lot of things. It was only the side, from his side, that an opportunity were committed from. That is a very big moment in their second. If you look at the man Azizi Kayondo, yes, he had a decent performance. He tried a little bit defensively, and of course gave it all. It's going at all to see that things go well, but still he had a lot of things with the Sporting to see that he does his moment to the perfection, because we expected him to be at the par. So he plays for Sporting Lisbon's Gene Katanda. Of course, I mean, the person he was marking was a place for, that is Guinea. But he was really toe-to-toe with the man, Geni Katamo of Sporting Lisbon. So he gave them a lot of things. Bevis Mugabe was another name who played some game, but to me, yeah, he wasn't also to the expectation, a little slow for, that is the third goal, but you saw how things worked out. It was not that fast move that you could be seeing, but of course, like many other teammates, of course, who improved it in that is the first half, but second half they also had to move. Khalid Aucho, who of course captained the team, gave it all, his passing and the moment, the decency, but still things could not get that goal for him. Had a little impact on the game was the man who had a little bit of impact on the game was Kenneth Semakula. He did not really do much to whatever you could be expecting. Little impact in that is the middle, or alongside Khalid Aucho, before of course he was switched to, that is right back, when Bono was brought out because of poor performance. And then another outstanding performer was, of course, Alan Okello. He gave his all-assisted Shaban's goal with, of course, an acoustic a kick. Free kick was very nice, so sweet, delicious, that Shaban could just make a tap and, of course, make that goal come in. And, of course, he also denied a lot of chances. He was denied a lot of chances, even one that had a crossbar after, of course, the break. But a decent show he had yesterday. You could talk about Dennis Omedi. He was just not to the game at first. I mean, okay, tried, but later on he was rightly sent off for, that is the second yellow card. That shows how he couldn't control his emotions. That's very, very bad for a team. If you see Mohamed Shaban yesterday, yes, he had limited service for, that is the front man, especially if you look at after Omedi's red card. But of course got Uganda's consolation with, of course, the poacher putting in that goal in there. So it was a poacher's tap that he just had to put in there, a poacher's touch, which of course made Uganda go through India. Jude Semugabi, yes, had a game, but he was a workaholic who never, of course, gave up with a final until the final whistle went on right there. Now, if you look at the first 11, that's how they performed to me, but later on there were also substitutes that came in, names like Alionzina Afian, who came in, of course, after coming in, not tested after coming on, but of course looked more confident than even Watenga in that goal post. He could play the ball. He's a ball player, did everything. He was so confident. The crowd was not his problem, and still tried a lot of moment in there. And another person who came in was Stephen Dezomu Kwala. Yes, he was so good. He had impact after replacing Shaban. He tried touching here and there, but still things were not to what you could be expecting. So that means a lot for such a team. That means very much for Uganda after losing to Mozambique. Of course, they will be preparing to see that they really want to make sure that see what exactly happens in there. So this was felt terrible as Uganda lost their game. So we wait for another game that probably will be coming in there. But all in all, if you look at some of the games that were played in, that is the World Cup qualifiers in the African continent, of course, you could see that Sierra Leone against, of course, Guinea-Bissau was also a 3-1 for Sierra Leone. Zimbabwe played 2-2 all draw with Benin, whereas Cape Verde lost to beat Team Mauritanians by 1-0. And then you have Libya that also had 1-1 all draw with Angola. Gabon played against Seychelles, a game that ended 3-0 in favor of Gabon. 3-3 all draw between Gambia and Kenya, whereas Malawi also lost to Namibia by 1-0. Iran, of course, there were also other games that were played, but out of that, I could talk about Iran, UAE, and then Uzbekistan against, of course, Kazakhstan. A game that ended 1-0 in favor of that is Uzbekistan. Qatar did beat also Team North Korea by 1-0, while South Korea played 1-1 all with Oman. Then Iraq 2-2 all draw with Kuwait. Jordan did beat Palestine by 2-1. And then Australia did beat Indonesia by 5-1, whereas Japan beat Bahrain by 2-0, and Saudi Arabia beat China by 1-0. So those are some of the games that were played, and I can tell you that this is the moment where I will really want to take a break and maybe come back after some moment. But of course, all in all, let's take a break. When I come back, I'm going to give you some of the in-depth in the international stories before I cross off, or before I say it is done for today. But all in all, that is what happened, and some of also the games that I will be giving you right there. Stay tuned to West Nile Television.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
It's time to break free with Azam TV. Grab yourself a full kit at 80,000 shillings or an Azam decoder at 40,000 shillings. Experience the thrill of every goal in La Liga, Italian Serie A, German Bundesliga, and the excitement of live sports action from the Saudi Pro League and Carabao Cup on Azam Plus and Play Package in HD. Your favorite China Uganda movies on Chamuka TV on Azam Pure for just 13,000 shillings monthly. Unlock a world of sports and entertainment with Azam TV, the most affordable pay TV around. Visit any of our agents or call 0312-308-900 for more details.
Azam TV, entertainment for everybody.
In the dance of shadows and light lies the heart of Uganda's resilience amidst the challenges of the night, where innovation meets necessity and education refuses to be dimmed, where connection thrives in the absence of power. Embrace the power of the sun with StarTime's solar range of solutions. And empower your journey towards a brighter tomorrow. StarTime Solar. Power your life.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Still whistle time on your screens, and I want to say still a lot of things happening right there, and of course bad news for that is Arsenal Football Club that is yet to of course see how to win the Champions League, and of course still have hopes of fighting over the Premier League against Liverpool, of course after even creating that 15 gap. All the fans and the staff at Arsenal believe they still can win this trophy even if Liverpool is winning them with 15 points. So let's wait and see what exactly, but I'll be giving you the bad news from Arsenal shortly. But before we get to that, of course, I'm just told Nile High has scored already against St. Augustine. Brilliant header that is there. It's 1-0 in favor of that is Nile High, and that is one big thing that I can give you. But at the same time, there's what is called the City Oilers and the Nam Blazers game that is going on right there. Probably a lot of things will be expected from the National Basketball League that is going on. The season opener starts today as of course the fixture for the men's division goes on with the National Basketball League between City Oilers and the Namwongo Blazers. You can call them the Nam Blazers, who may of course be regarded as the season makers by that is many fans of this game. I know very many don't follow these basketball games, but we follow them and probably see how these things are. So these are some of the key names or key teams that is the idea. If anything is missing you when you're in Kampala, elsewhere, please, this Friday night is one big one. The matchup at that is Lugogo Indoor Arena Stadium, which will of course only bear the needs to either sides to see that they get themselves right there. And especially the Oilers, who will of course be without their MVP, Titus Lowell, and star point guard. I'm talking about Fired Ballet, who of course has been one key prominent figure in that team, but of course he will not be there. Now of course with the due out, that means off-season acquisition Edgar Munaba will be in action alongside of course Bolton Rujumba, who of course they have also acquired in a new position, while of course which will be throwing them in there. So it's a tight game, and according to that is coach Andrew Tendo, he said that you will have of course a direct focus to see that this moves front court, and of course a front court defensive, and load the Rogers Duana Rujumba, and of course returnee Joseph Chuma, who has also come back to see that they get into the game. So it was a better one. But Peter Oblanget elevated his offensive game last season, and he had really gone very far. We shall be expecting to see that he gets the best for that is the team, as of course he will of course give also the wing defender lots of problems that he was coming there. So how will the teams probably turn up to be massively admired? We are yet to see, because the two coaches, Stephen Nyeko and Tendo, seems to favor of course to favor a relatively fast-paced game in their in the way they play. So that is their in football we call it that is their philosophy of the game, and probably that is one thing that could be coming. So it's night ball one. You could be getting, in fact, basketball. Basketball is going on right today, so you should be giving also your time for this and see what happens. But elsewhere, still also the 2025 Victoria Cup still continues, and Uganda takes the lead over Kenya on that is the opening day at that is Naviesha. I did tell you this team traveled, and they did beat also. Uganda did beat, of course, take that lead on the day one. So Uganda established a point to lead over that is Kenya after, of course, opening the day of the 2025 Victoria Cup at that is Kipiripiri Golf Resort in Naviesha. So we're expecting a tough moment right there. Now, that takes me straight away to what, of course, is happening in the world of international stories, which I love always giving little time because really you can get the story anywhere and do whatever you want. First and foremost, we want to talk about how exactly Liverpool is trying to look for the replacement of two people. One of them is Virgil van Dijk and the other is Mohamed Salah in case the two leave. Salah could be free agent to see he goes to maybe Saudi Pro League and the rest. But Mohamed Salah is a top-notch target for that is Real Madrid, one of the best teams in the world, and no player will always hesitate and refuse to play for Real Madrid because of whatever they are doing, their history and whatever is there. So Liverpool now have opened up their thoughts to see that they want the man by the names of Xavi Simons. He plays for that is RB Leipzig. They want to bring this player to their names to see that he replaces Mohamed Salah. He's 21 years of age and he still has a bright future, young as he is, to see that this club penetrates India. But would he be like Salah? Obviously no, there is no way a player will be like the other India, but of course trying always either to be better or being less than the player, the one who has set a record. So Simon has so far scored 8 goals and registered 5 assists in 25 appearances, I can tell you, for RB Leipzig this season. While of course he has 18 goals and 19 assists in 68 matches that he has played for in the Bundesliga in a total. So it's a very, very big one as the Netherlands international completed his permanent move in the current club. I'm talking about Paris Saint-Germain in January after of course he was from that is Bayern Munich. And Manchester United are also currently heavily linked with this very player. They want him into their team, with of course the Red Devils believed to view him as an ideal player to boost their attack and attack unit, and of course see that this works out. So he's one big name that these teams are looking for. Can they do it? We're waiting to see. At Manchester United, they are also looking at tabling a £50 million for a move for the 20-year-old Gerard Braithwaite, the defender whom they really wanted some time back but couldn't pick him. Braithwaite is believed to have been the subject of that is at least 2 bids, but at the same time he was ready to come and refused even Everton to sign, but they had rated him at 70 million, and yet United were saying they wanted to give him at a region of 45 million, but Everton had held firm their evaluation to 70 million in there. So now, which made, of course, United and Everton to part ways, where even after Gerard Braithwaite was ready to come to Manchester United. Now, there is again a speculation surrounding the 22-year-old the move to Manchester United, according to the reports. But Real Madrid are also believed to be interested in the defender, as Carlo Ancelotti thinks he would be another good addition right there. So let's wait and see as the preparations keep going and see whatever is happening. Bad news that I talked about at Arsenal is about Calafiori, who of course currently is being assessed by that is the Italian doctors, and according to that is the man Luciano Spalletti, who provided an update, say that Arsenal really needs to be worried because this is one thing that they are still waiting for Italian Italian doctors to see whether he will be fit to play. So in the 2-1 of course defeat against Germany on Thursday, which was yesterday, yes, Calafiori was a victim of circumstance when he got that injury, and he is going to be one name that sat down and really had moments. So we're waiting to see whether he will be able, but in case he's not going to be there in the Arsenal team, what happens? Because he has always been a very good key player when he comes into the team and adding more. So it's so challenging. We're yet to see what exactly that will be like. Liverpool star also picked a knock in the international. I'm talking about Ibrahim Konate, who was also withdrawn half of that is the game when France were 2-0 defeated against Croatia, and this is in the quarterfinals yesterday. Then there was another good one when Højlund Rasmussen scored a goal for his team to overcome, of course, the winning goal to overcome Denmark, to overcome the team of Portugal in that game. But of course, you did see him score and celebrated in the style of that is Cristiano Ronaldo. He said he was giving a tribute to that is Cristiano Ronaldo. He celebrated that, the shoe celebration in front of that is Cristiano Ronaldo, and indeed he said he has always been a 7 years admirer of Cristiano Ronaldo. That's why he feels he needed to imitate this in a very, very big way. Today there's going to be, of course, Thomas Tuchel, who has also been a headliner after dropping in some key players against Albania match, including Liverpool and Nottingham Forest's talented players. One of them is the man by the names of Morgan Gibbs and Cole Palmer, who have also been dropped in there. And these players probably are not going to be able to see that they play in for that is the team according to in today's game. So it's so challenging. Very many are asking why. Of course, Tuchel's system could not maybe fit them. I don't know, but they are off. They're not going to be playing in this game of Albania today. So it's a very big concern that is happening. And that's exactly what I had for you today. We shall be catching again tomorrow to see that we talk about the weekend sports that will be coming right here on that is the mighty television of course, West Nile. And we're saying we light up the region. So therefore, keep it always hooked. Up next will be the movie. Keep it hooked to West Nile television. Good